Alrighty, guys. So creating your client avatar. This is, again, is one of these buzzwords a lot of people talk about, but if I actually like, you and me were, if I'm talking to a gym owner and they're like, yeah, my client avatar, like we're going after this person. Like, great, sit down and explain to me in like 3 sentences who it is. Generally, we get a mix of things like, well, it's 25 to 35, like 51% female, 49% male, and they generally live within like 2 miles of the gym. I'm like, that's part of it. That's awesome. That's great. That's like more demographic. You sound like you work for the US Census Bureau, okay? Which is fine. That is an element. There's a lot of other elements to go into it, and I'll be honest with you, their age, their their gender, their location, relative, not the most important though. Not the most important. We're going to talk about all the objective factors that go into an avatar today, but I need you guys to think of your client avatar as of less of a type of person and more of a type of problem. All right. And I'll tell you stories about at my gym. I advertised young, sexy, single, on Tinder, no kids, no mortgages. That's all I advertised. You never saw an overweight person. You never saw an obese person. You never saw an old person. Yet I had all 3 of those as members. They came and they were welcome and we loved them. They were me. But my avatar was very, very specific. I was solving a very specific set of problems. Now, that doesn't mean that people outside my avatar might be like, hey, I'm kind of into that. I'm like, really, grandma? You want to work out here? She's like, fuck yeah, I love Tiesto. I like, yeah, let's go. And grandma, come work out at Urban Movement. Your avatar has to be consistently a certain problem set, because we don't really care what kind of person joins, really, right? At least I hope you don't have a specific person. Like, I don't want them in here. Maybe your women's only studio or something like that, possibly. But by and large, guys, think of problem sets when we're thinking of avatar. I'll be giving you very specific things to identify people, but I need you in the back of your head thinking problem sets, not people sets. So a client avatar is the detailed profile of your ideal client. These characteristics here I'm going to be going through today. These are all those objective measurements that I talked about that you will want to have a complete profile of your client avatar. All right. Demographics. Okay. Psycho, lifestyle, wants, need, pain points, brand associations. What other brands do they purchase from and associate with, and their preferred information channels? If we have all that objective, and then we get to the problems, like especially wants, needs, and pain points, you have a great opportunity to speak to them in your marketing, in your website, in your copy, all of that, and then speak to them in the client experience. The client experience of a 40-year-old female who simply doesn't want to be intimidated when she shows up to the gym and doesn't want to feel stupid because she doesn't know the movements and everyone else in class does is completely different than that of a client avatar post-college, played sports in either high school or college, and is looking to reclaim their athletic identity. Way different. Everything from the website to the service, the language and the storytelling you do, and the actual product on the floor should be remarkably different for those two. If you're like, well, I've got both. Again, I had old, overweight, and and people that did not match my avatar. That's fine. But who are you specifically catering to? All right. We're going to aim at one, and we're going to let others who don't fit that profile, but they show up and they're awesome and they pay and all that, we're going to let them join too. We're not prohibiting them, but we got to aim at one type of avatar. Now, a lot of times that information, that list can be lengthy, exhaustive, and it can make you feel like, where the hell am I going to get this information? Is this in the back of PushPress? Are they pulling this information? Where am I going to get this? Well, some of it, you got their address, you got their name, you probably have their birthday from their waiver, right? So you have some of this information. A lot of it, though, you will get from focus groups, surveys, and just conversations with your customers. A lot of this stuff here is not something that's going to be select A, B, C, or D on a survey. Okay. Now, these are micro gyms, most of you. I don't think we probably have a ton of health club users, Globo Gym users that are going to have, up to thousands of active customers. You guys are going to have hundreds of active customers, which means that is very easy, very scalable and easy to extract enough information from them. And everyone's like, do I need to get all my clients' information? No. Generally, to form a client avatar, I tell people if you can, encapsulate 20 to 40% of your customer base of the information, you're good. Your money. Net promoter scores. And if you guys ever do, net promoter score, we'll tell you 10% is enough. I think that's generally for a bigger scope of an audience. Micro gyms, you might have someone, you know, some of you guys might have 107 members. All right. So 10% might not be enough there. Generally, micro gym, 20, 40%, anywhere in there. If we can get that information, you can aggregate it. That represents a great client avatar for you. Now, if you want specific objective information, demographic based stuff like we'll talk about today, statisticalatlas.com is one of my favorite sites for that. It's a free site, which means it's riddled. Anything you've searched on the internet the past 2 days, you're going to see every ad possible is going to be on there for it. It's one of those sites, but the information is good. It's up to date. And then obviously just go to the census.gov. Literally, that's where you can get the most up-to-date, easy to access information is the census. Digital traffic analysis. So when we talk about information channels, your Google Search Console, right? I'd love, and I can't see it, but raise your hand if you actively go to Google Search Console, which is free, and actually look at your website's traffic via the Google Search Console on even a half a year basis, every 6 months. If you are, good. If you're not, shame on you. That shows you what pages are getting more traffic, how many hits per month you get, where the hits are coming from. And it's free. It's all right there. Google takes care of it for you. Okay. Social media insights. We all know we're all on Instagram posting for our gym, but you ever go to the insights and take a look and see where people are coming from? You know, what time are they clicking on your stuff? You can even, if you have a third-party scheduler, you can even get which platforms you're getting more engagement on than others. So this information is it's not impossible to find. All right, demographics part 1. Demographics is simply the study of people's characteristics. For the purposes of us in the gym industry, we're going to identify the following demographic information for the client. All right, age, gender, income, location. We could get granular. I could think of 3 to probably 6 more that could be fun and nerdy if you like to geek out on this. I don't think we need it. All right. Age, gender, income, location. Age, create ranges. You'll generally see this is pretty much industry standard, 18 to 24, and then it goes in nine-year ranges from there. Gender, side by side. You can get you can get as complicated or as basic as you want with that. Income, again, that's going to come from census data. You might see that in AHI, average household income. You might see it as AGI, adjusted gross income. It'll give you a good idea as to how much money people are making in there based on the census data. Generally of 2 years prior is the most updated you're going to get. Location, broken down by zip code. You can go into Google today and put in location heat map. And there are tons of free websites that allow you to upload a CSV file. And I bet, Gavin, they're able to download a contact CSV file from PushPress with all their active customers, name,
yes,
address, zip. Get rid of the name, just upload address and zip, boop, upload one of those. It'll give you a heat map or a pin drop all over the map of those addresses. There are dozens of sites like that don't cost anything. It's a pretty low lift kind of application, but you could start understanding where is it people are, traveling to us. If you're in a suburban market, you generally see people traveling a little bit further. It's not uncommon for people to drive 10, 15, or 20 minutes to get to you in the suburbs. In urban markets, those commute times are far shorter, mainly maybe because people are working down there or they live in an apartment or a townhouse or whatever it is. But these demographic data pieces are ridiculously important. If you ever wanted to run paid ads and I came to you and said, great, what zip codes are we targeting? Well, I think a lot of them come from, no. I don't want you to think. There's nothing wrong with your brain. You just don't have the right information. I need exact information if we're going to give Zuckerberg some money. Have exact data, because right here, you're able to get exact. This is objective. No emotions or feelings about it. This is just what the data set is. Psychographics. This gets more subjective, but it's very, very important. This is the study of people's beliefs, values, and goals, right? This little image here, right? So psychographics, getting crazy here. All right, psychographics. I'm an MBA fan, right? I value my family. I'm good at saving, very frugal. I enjoy experiential, trips and vacations. Love dogs, and I really enjoy classical music. That is psychographic. Okay. That could also be, how do you vote? Red or blue, right? Do you believe in gentrification or not? Are you going to, it could get as like political and kind of whatever as you want. It could also be very basic stuff. It could be like, yeah, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. The big thing right now everyone's arguing about is they're narrowing streets to make it harder for cars to reduce congestion, because the only way to get rid of cars driving on the road is make it more inconvenient for cars. It's called the Atlanta model. And that's a huge topic. So there's some people that love it. Oh, we're going to ride scooters and bikes and walk everywhere. And there's some people that hate it. Where am I going to park? How am I going to drive my car? Like, these are the psychographics that you could download. When I download, have conversations with members, have surveys, understand the temperature of your culture, and include that in your marketing efforts to find other people. Because the only reason we look for a client avatar, we develop one, is so we can speak to them through marketing and storytelling and the actual experience. Okay. Personality, values, and activities are the three big ones I tell you to go after. If you Google psychographic segments, you'll get 7 more. I don't think we need them. I think these are the top 3. So for personality, this could be as simple as, do your members prefer that hands-on coaching, like feeling like they're getting the one-on-one personal training in a group setting, or do they like more independence? And you probably are thinking of a handful of members like, oh, I got members that love when they get coached up. I have other members that I could tell them X, Y, or Z, and they just won't do it. Or they just, you could tell they're like, hey, thanks. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the environment. And that's fine. You just have 2 different personality types in your gym, alpha, beta, type A, type B. And that's fine. Which one do you want? Like, Stu, I want the person that's going to want our coaching. Like they find it to be a satisfactory quality class the more coaching they get. Okay, well then our marketing and language should talk about that from the get. At Urban Movement, one of my lines was that we use the sweat towels. We always give these cold sweat towels, these warm sweat towels at the beginning and a cool sweat towel at the end. Sweat towels are optional. The coaching is not. That was a line we had because I had a very specific psychographic I wanted. I wanted individuals who were there to be led. I didn't want people there who knew what they were talking about. That was very specific. So when we would have certain types, not picking on CrossFitters, but generally like experienced CrossFitters, it's like, it's probably not going to work out. Probably not going to work out. And when it did it was like, yeah, because we don't cater to that psychographic. If somebody goes, I know it, I'm good, bud. I'm good. I've been doing this for 6 years. I know my shit. That wasn't who we wanted. Myers-Briggs, DISC, and voice form are some really cool resources. Anyone here ever done an MB test, Myers-Briggs, or a DISC personality assessment, or some other there's, all these different kinds of personality assessments that you could use with your membership base. You could pay and have this survey sent out, hopefully get 20 to 40% of them to fill it out. And you could get a great idea what their personality type is. That would be really interesting to see.
Don't use astrology.
I wouldn't. I would
Unless
not
your market
go
really
with
wants to talk about astrology, maybe.
Yep. And if that case, God bless you. My God. Yeah. So if, I wouldn't go that route. I wouldn't go with horoscopes. One brand I put in here that is relatively new, but I really like it. The problem with surveys, they take too long and they're not very contextual because we try to make them as quantitative as possible. Voice form has taken audio messages and created surveys in which they respond with audio message. It will download and tell you with the with the inflection of their voice and their tone and all this, and it'll batch it into quantitative data, but it also gives you great qualitative feedback as well. Check out voice form. Very cool. I've been having some clients work with this now. It's technology is so fucking awesome. Values.
So to go back, you're saying only 3 profiles to start.
Yeah, I say, like, if we're looking at all psychographics, you probably could go ahead and, like, if you want to do something really thorough, there's probably a good 7 that we'd look at. I think these 3 for gym owners, customers, these are the most important.
Most important. Okay.
Yeah. So the next one, it was the values, right? So that's something that's, people's values as to why is paying this gym membership a priority for you? That is a good qualitative question. You could ask members in some kind of focus group or a survey or just casual conversation, be jotting down answers. Why? Because it's expensive. Well, some of these gym memberships are the same as a car note, a car payment. Why is this so important for you to do it? A lot of you guys probably have members who maybe had to get a second job, or it's a stretch for them to pay for this, but they still do. It's because they value something. Now, I have some clients I've worked with, gym owners, that what they value, purely aesthetic. I value how I look at the pool party on Saturday more than anything. It's vain, it's aesthetics based. Who cares? That's their values. Someone else be like, I don't want my wife's previous husband died of a heart attack, and I don't want to be I don't want her to be a widow 2 times over. What are the values? What is it they value? Because aesthetics chasing individual and the health I don't want to die individual, they're going to respond to different client services different, right? They're going to go ahead and respond to different programs you might lay out differently, and they would respond to different kinds of marketing. But if you're just like, well, I'm just going to say one thing and I think both will like it, I promise you, you're missing the mark. And activities. Here's a great example of that. What is it you do outside the gym? I like the activities aspect. Like, what is it your avatar client does when they're not at work, they're not sleeping, and they're not at the gym? Every gym owner's like, it's the third place. My gym's the third place. It's home, work, and me. Cool. You realize there's like 7 places really. So where else are they? So when I have a gym who's like, I can't get enough people in the gym. I'm like, cool. Where are your members when they're not at home, not at work, and not at your gym? Well, I don't know. I'm like, cool. We look into it. They're at the breweries on Saturdays. They're at the minor league baseball games for Thirsty Thursdays, $1 hot dogs, right? They're at the, they're at the lake on the weekends when it's summertime. Well, now when I know what their activities look like, they look social, they look fun, right? Like this versus maybe that's like maybe a younger demographic gym. I have a gym like where your members, they're taking their kids to 7 different sporting events on a Saturday and Sunday. Mom and dad are essentially Uber for their kids until they're old enough to drive. They go to church on Sunday. Now I'm getting an idea of not only values, but also activities. What else could I sponsor that? Is that majority of my members? Could I sponsor that little league team and offer free training or whatever and get and somehow get involved with that market? All this stuff ties into the client avatar, but essentially it's why are we doing this? I only give people work to do if it's going to make them more money or create a better client experience, not both. And this kind of information will help you do that. Lifestyle. Understand how your current client avatar lives their life. It's vital if you want to successfully market to them. So, relationship status. Are they single, married, young family, established family? They have an established family. Kids are in high school or about to go into high school, college or about to go to college. What is it you probably don't have to worry about that a gym in which they have young starter families have to worry about? The gym with young starter families, once a member gets pregnant, you're like, shit. That's a cancellation in 8 months, if not sooner. Right? Young families, when kids, that's your, anyone who's parents here, that first kid hits you, you're like, oh, I got this shit. You're like, you're not going to the gym as often, money's tight because babies are expensive, and what's up with diapers, and like you're canceling the gym membership to save some cash. The family's got all the, the kids are kind of grown or they're going to college. They don't have the ebbs and flows, right? So if you know where your people are at, you can predict trends. When I have a gym's like, man, it was summertime and everyone canceled. I'm like, you've been doing this for 7 years in the same market. Doesn't this happen every summertime when all the young kids get out of school and now mom and dad don't have the paid built-in babysitter of school and all the moms and dads have to put their membership on hold? Well, yeah, then why aren't you recognizing this? Why is this news to you again? Again, you've got to understand the lifestyle of your avatar client. Do they rent or own their home? Why does that matter, Stu? Well, if they rent, the number one question you ask them the day they sign up, great, what apartment complex you live in? Awesome. When did you sign your lease? Most leases are 12 months. I signed it 6 months ago. Awesome. You have a high likelihood of losing this client in 6 months, especially if it's more of an urban market. When that lease expires, they will probably relocate. And most urban markets are highly driven by convenience. If the location they relocate to is no longer convenient to the gym, you're probably seeing a cancellation. That's why it's important. Someone, young family, just bought a house. Okay. They're probably good for a while, right? They're probably not moving for 5 years or more. Financially frugal. Do they make coffee at home to save money, or do they purchase local craft coffee? I got a gym, and he decided to do something nice. So he got cold brew and warm coffee, like pump pots, free coffee every day. Every member, like people were bringing home the thermoses from their house and filling it up and taking it with them. And we talked about it. And I'm like, let me ask you something. My guess is I'm right on this. You don't do a good job selling retail. Your shirts and your bars on, they don't sell real good. He's like, no, everyone always says they could get it cheaper at Costco. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You got some cheap people in this gym. I don't know where the marketing went wrong in your world and what you did, how you went left when you should have gone right, but you've attracted a very cheap clientele. And this individual is now having a very hard time doing a price raise. But had he been aware of this from the get-go, I'm like, man, I've got some real frugal people in here. This is gonna be, how did that happen? Was I abiding by everyone's, oh, well, can I get a deal? I saw you had a thing last year. Can I get that? I know someone that lives next door. Can I get a deal? Like if you create the world, you got to sleep in the bed you made. But this is why if you identify, I don't want that person. You'll know how to market. You can use language, what I did at Urban Movement. Talk is cheap. We are not. We may be the most expensive gym in Charlotte and we are proud of it.
Let me ask you this, Stu.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people online today that are relatively new to push press. I don't know if they're new to ownership, but if you're somebody like me who didn't think about client avatar when opening, and then down the road, you look around and you realize you got that frugal clientele, it's probably smart to do that one first, see what's naturally occurred, and then see if that matches to your target, I assume, or what you maybe think it is.
Yeah, no, I agree. And Gavin brings up a great point. The best thing to do is not to create an aspirational avatar here. I want you to literally look at all these using your current data set, which is your current customers, and be like, this is what I got. Now, if what you have is different than what you want, well, there's certain things you could do. You want to know how to weigh cheap people? Raise prices. They cancel. You keep marketing. Hopefully your marketing and client acquisition game is strong and new people come in. You ever notice new people like, oh, it's 185? Yeah, okay, here you go. And then Sally, who's been with you 7 years, is like, I'm got to pay 185. I don't think so. Right. Like, because you condition her to pay this cheap rate. So yeah, no, Gavin's 100% correct, guys. Using this information today to create your current avatar. What have I got? And then we can talk about how do I change it? Travel and experience focus. These are people that might be gone during the summer, jet set around the holidays, things like that. And if you're experience focused, you better bring it on the experience side. And then social profiles. At my gym, it's summertime. Nobody came in my gym Friday through Sunday. It was just a ghost town. Young kids going out to the lake, having a good time. They weren't worried about fitness till Monday. And my gym smelled like a brewery on Monday after everyone sweated it out from the weekends. But that was my avatar I chose to go after, right? So you got to accept the good and the bad. Wants, needs, pain points. So I like this little cartoon here, how the customer explained it, how you and your coaches came up with the solution for it, and then what they actually really needed, right? Like the customer doesn't always know how to articulate what they want, right? You ever had customers like, oh, I want this kind of class. Can you do this class? I'll go to this class. You're like, okay, I created the class. Crickets, like nobody is showing up. They didn't really want that class. You didn't ask the next 7 questions that would have led to knowing, oh, they don't actually want that class. What they want is a little bit more of this in the current programming. That's all. They don't need a whole new thing for it. They just would like to see a little bit more of this thing. So wants, needs, and pain points. Talk to your current members. What do they want? I want a workout that gives me enough cardio and strength so I don't have to do extra on my own. That was the number one piece of data I extracted from my CrossFit gym before I rebranded it to Urban Movement. There were people that went to CrossFit South End. I had over 300 members. We're then going to the YMCA or a Planet Fitness to pump some iron, to do more sit-ups, to do aesthetic stuff. I was like, God damn, man, are these people crazy? Am I missing the mark? What's going on? It made me rethink what it was I was doing. Now, the wants of the loud minority, very loud, very small, can't dictate the shape of the business. But if you start hearing this from the overwhelming majority, something to consider. Needs. What are their needs? I have to work out at lunch and need an on-site shower. If you're having, conversations with members, so what are your needs? What is it you want? Like if you're in an urban downtown location, you probably should have a couple showering facilities on site because likely, again, depending on what the return to office scenario for you is in 23, people need to get in a quick workout in the midday. That's realistic. What are their needs? And then pain points. I hate feeling like I don't know the exercises in a new group class. The number one thing I heard, why didn't you come into, CrossFit South End sooner, urban movement sooner? I kept trying to get my friend, my roommate, and my girlfriend to go with me. And I don't know. I just don't want to feel dumb. I don't know how to do that stuff. Like, oh, it's just an educational thing. She doesn't want to walk in and feel embarrassed that she doesn't know what a thruster is. Just like I know 20 dudes who don't want to go to yoga because they don't know what Warrior 3 is. And they don't want to mess up or fart mid pose or something. They're embarrassed of not knowing the thing. That's interesting. How can I fix that problem? Brand associations and preferred info channels. This is the last one. So again, another gym owner having a hard time with frugal customers. And I go, cool. How many of them walk in? I want you to just note this week, how many of them are wearing Lululemon, Athleta, any of those higher end athletic, or what do you call it? Fashion athletics brands. Athleisure, that's it. He said, hardly any. I go, okay, well, that's not good. That's not good at all. I'll tell you this, gym owners in which the members of your gym currently wear $160 leggings to the gym, I'm like, God, I'm going to lose sleep for 7 days. I'm going to ask for $10 more a month. Trust me, they don't care. You do because you're probably, no offense, you're probably broke. And broke people sell like broke people buy. And when you're broke, you don't buy anything because everything's expensive, but you cannot download your BS psyche onto what the customer profile is. Customer rolls up in a Mercedes. They have a Swell water bottle. You ever bought a Swell water bottle? I bought one for my sister one time. I was like, are you kidding me? Is this thing going to cure cancer if she has it? What am I paying for? And they're wearing Lulu and they have a pair of, $165 Nobles on. I'm not afraid of raising the price $30. They wouldn't even know it's gone. Again, think about the brands they associate with. Are they stealing all your pump pot coffee because they're too cheap to buy their own? Right? Or are they always going to the cool? Is that like a common thing after class? They go to the cool craft coffee shop across the street and get a $7 latte. You got to know what brands they associate with. Do they go to Food Lion and the cheaper restaurant and they only buy meat when it's got a pink sticker on it? And you better eat that shit in the next 2 days or you're going to get sick. Or they go into Whole Foods and Sprouts. And then what are their communication vehicles, like the information channels? The older, I've got a gym that does primarily a lot of 45 to 60-year-olds. Facebook's pretty big, and email. We're not doing a lot of TikTok over there. I've got other gyms that are more millennial based. TikTok and YouTube are big. Podcasts are huge. The gym's got a podcast. It has a higher download rate than emails have open rates. Why? Because we took the time to actually investigate what information channels do the members want. And again, it goes, well, how do I know that? The hole in the middle of your mouth. You could ask, or you could send out a survey. Again, 20 to 40% of the gym fills these things out or gives you the responses. That's enough people for you to then formulate an avatar client. The last thing I wanted to show with you is kind of what could this still look like. I hired a brand called Metcon Creative back in the day to do all my avatar work. And for the Urban Movement brand manual, this is one of the renditions, but our ideal client persona is what he calls it. And we actually gave them names. It was Ashley and Ray. Sounded like the name of the kids that I had at Urban Movement. And then we were able to talk about exactly their pain points, the opportunities, their goals. What is it they want, right? Some of the guys there, where's the one? They want to fit into a large shirt, right? They're not necessarily athletes, but they like walking around after a workout in their athleisure clothes that are really expensive just to show everyone I do fitness. It's a status thing. But we had to have conversations and focus groups and talk to people to understand all this information, right? Most of them were actively dating and considering the gym like a 3D Tinder. I might meet a boy here. I might meet a girl here, right? This is real, okay? None of them wanted to work out at the local YMCA or the Gold Gym because they said it wasn't cool. So how do I make my place cool? What does that mean to them? talk about their pain points, and then ultimately, like, start like actually in these conversations and the members, like, what is it? Like we were doing when it wasn't summertime, our Friday classes slammed at noon, early in the day and noon. And they're like, I'm doing this, I'm taking the rest of the day off. And this is gonna be like my pregame. Coming in here, I'm getting my workout on, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna feel good about whatever debauchery I'm getting into tonight. That was the reality of it. But I didn't guess that. I can't Google that. I got to ask it qualitative and quantitatively. So, questions, comments, thoughts?
That was great.
Thank you.
We didn't talk about tools.
I lost you there, Gav.
Lost me a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. So tools for like the surveys and whatnot.
Well, and like, yeah, where do you input these data points for the client and put them all together?
So lowest hanging fruit would be demographics. You can get that from all the CSV information that you probably already have inside of PushPress. Good to go there. Okay. Psychographics. This is where you could go look at a Myers-Briggs or a DISC and just go ahead and search psychographic surveys. There's 20 different kinds. And there's companies that will literally, and again, it's not expensive, and some of them are free. You can literally Google what a DISC questionnaire looks like and download it. Send it out to members, and be transparent. You are a small business owner. They know you're not Bezos. Hey guys, I'm trying to get a better idea as how to storytelling, like market to avatar customers. And you know what? I really like who we have here. I'd actually like to clone all of you. But until that technology becomes commercially available, how about you answer these 17 questions, take you 3 minutes, and then I'll have a better idea as to who you are, so I can try to get more cool people like you in here. You think they'd respond well to that? I do. Then you go ahead and work your way through lifestyle, pain points, wants, needs. And those, again, a lot of those are just a little bit less complex. I know in the psychographics one, I probably want you to get a Myers-Briggs or a DISC or something like that. But on pain points, if you don't know your members' pain points, you're probably also telling me you've got a really big sales issue. Real big sales issue. Right? Awesome. Why are you looking to join the gym? Cool. Are you currently working out somewhere else? Oh, you are. Oh, why are you looking here? Oh, you're not? You're not looking at, or you're not working anywhere else? Great. Did you just hear about us? Oh, you've known we've been here for a year. Why didn't you come in a year ago? What's different? What's going on now today? These are just the basic sales questions you would ask anyone if you were trying to help them, right? My little sister, she's getting married. And I've been listening to my girlfriend help her get ready for the wedding. And the whole time I was like, man, babe, if we were slinging wedding stuff, you'd crush it. We'd be making so much money off my sister right now, because all the questions she asked were buying questions. Like, awesome. So what kind of a material do you want on the dress? Why do you want that material? Oh, it reminds you of grandma's dress. Oh, okay. Like, these are just, if you were helping someone, you just ask questions and then you gather data points. For anybody who does a lot of stuff over the phone, if you do consultations, there's a great app called Tape a Call. I required every one of my staff that did sales to download the app. I paid for it, and they had to record their cold calls and their sales calls. We brought them in. They had to give me the top 2 that sucked, the top 2 that rocked. We'd listen to them in staff meetings. Right? You guys ever going to call? This call is being recorded for quality and training purposes. That's all that's happening. Right? We're not sharing it. We're not making content out of it. We're not violating anyone's privacy. We're just doing it to understand what good questions people are asking. That's a great way to do it. When you get to the brand association, you see it. You see them walk in. What cars do they buy? What clothes do they wear? What restaurants do they go to? All that stuff. It's a lot of it's just way more. You just got to take notice. And I know you're running around and doing 1,000 things, but if you still can't answer this question, my client avatar, work piece by piece through the list I gave you. Start at demographics, move to psychographics. Those are the 2 hardest. Then you can get into the fun stuff, which is actually just like, what is it they all want? These are hard because they're more subjective, but I personally like those categories more because I get to have conversations with people I generally enjoy, right? And I really love talking to my customers. I like talking to them more than I like coaching them. I like engaging with the customer.
That's not always the case, but it's good. You should have somebody like that. Question: have you matched client avatars to avatars of trainers that you hire?
So I never went and did like a disc on trainers and, my clients, or anything like that. However, if you're doing personal training, semi-private, anything like that, I think that's pretty interesting. I think it'd be super sophisticated. If anyone here has been doing that for a couple of years, shoot me a DM. I'd love to chat with you about that. I think that's very interesting. In a group fitness setting, you probably are going to have an avatar employee or an avatar, like I had an avatar employee, single, no kids, not married. That's who I hired. Married with kids, I didn't even probably didn't look at your resume. Probably were a great trainer. I needed a certain kind of person. So I do believe there should be an employee avatar, a trainer avatar for you, but I don't think it needs, I wouldn't worry too much about matching up in a group fitness setting. That's going to be impossible. But one-on-one training, I think that'd be really interesting.
Hope that answers the question, but yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, Allison, you will have access. I'll make sure that we have the slideshow download for you guys as well, that PowerPoint.
Yep, upload that. Give me 24 hours. Usually I like to cut out some of the stuff I say and get to the good stuff that Stu says. Any other questions?
Does anyone here think they have a good idea of their avatar? Like they want to spit some stuff at us? Like, again, you don't have to give us the entire rundown, but a couple things outside of demographics, but like give us some of the interesting stuff, maybe some of their wants, needs, pain points, maybe some of the lifestyle stuff. Like, anyone here really think they know their customer?
Based on the poll, it didn't look like a lot of people felt great about it. They felt just okay, but if you want to throw one in there that you feel okay about and you want to fill in maybe the gaps, workshop
and
it.
while they're doing that, here's a great example. So I've got an urban gym relocating. It's an urban downtown setting, and he's relocating about a mile. But a mile in his setting, you might as well be trekking across the Mojave Desert. So before he did it, he was convinced everyone's going to follow me. I wasn't. I said, here's a survey I want you to send out to your members. And again, they're all like renting apartments in the area. It's very expensive to live in this downtown area. Ask them how many of them Postmate more than 3 times a week, food to their house. Over 80% of members Postmated food to their house more than 3 times per week. That's incredible. Guess what? Do you think he still felt awesomely convinced that people would move and travel a mile away, which could, in a car, take 15 minutes? No. He thought he knew, because in his head, he's going back to when he first started in year 1 and 2. We're all buddies and friends, and help me paint the walls. Like, it's been 8 years, buddy. There's some grownups in here that didn't know you when you started. They don't have that kind of feelings about you. They're convenience-based. That's their lifestyle, convenience. They use Shipt and Instacart. They Postmate 3 times a week, right? They don't own a vehicle. It's important information to know, guys.
Yeah. There's a question, Allison actually asked it internally, but let's see. Interviewing the person versus a survey actually in person. I personally, if you do it in person, awesome.
Yeah. I think if there's enough opportunity to grab that qualitative data, I think, like, again, the scalability of that is tough. If you got a gym with 82 people, sure, give yourself a month, you should have it done. You got a gym membership with 182 people, do that plus the survey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do a little bit of both. It just, what's the real, what's the scalability of it? Oh, my head. It's a little fuzzy.
And also, even going back to what kind of generation or decade you're working with, face-to-face with Gen Z or millennials might be harder than with, Gen X and older millennials, I guess. I don't know. Depends. Some people like to do text and just respond. Andre
Johnson, are you good with me taking a stab at what you got here? So Andre hits us with his avatar, most people who just want to lose weight and gain muscle. Would that, Andre, if we were walking around your town and I had a microphone, I just walked around to everybody and I was going to see 10,000 people in a month. I said, would you like to lose weight and gain muscle? Would you like to lose weight and gain muscle? Would you? I would get a crackhead that would say yes. I'd have a 60-year-old woman who would say yes. Then I'd have a 20-year-old say yes. So that is good. That's a broad one. That's kind of like let's say you were in Denver, Colorado, and you're like, oh, people in Denver, Colorado. That's my avatar. That's a lot. I don't really know how to talk to people who want to lose weight and gain muscle, because that's pretty much everybody, right? It's like your restaurant. Who's your customer? People who like food. Can you get more specific? People who like good food. Okay, we got work to do. So I would ask you this. Why? What's the problem set? You told me what they want. You gave me a very generic want. Talk to me about the problem set. Why is it important for this person to lose weight and gain muscle? If it was, again, my demo going back to urban movement, it was because they were looking for a mate, and it's Charlotte and it's hot and you wear tank tops and short shorts and sundresses, and it helps to look better naked and be fit to find a mate. It helps your social status, your Instagram, finding somebody there. That's why. That was the problem. So that's what I created, right? I've talked about I even went to the local the Hinge rep to do date sponsored events because I knew that was the problem I was solving. Singles in Charlotte. So, Andre, also, when you think this 25 to 50 age demo, dial it in tighter. What you're telling me is I have 25 to 50-year-olds. That's not your median. That's not your average. That's your range. What is your average? So break it down, 18 to 24, 24 to 35. Give me just like I did in there, and break down the percentages. You're like, oh shit, we're actually right there. This one right here is the biggest one. I didn't even really realize that. I always thought it was this one. We are so wrong about the data. Like when gym owners give me, oh, this is what it is, and then we actually pull the data, generally wildly off. Because again, it just snow blindness and perception, and but numbers are numbers. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. What's Emily got here? This isn't going. Married professionals, possible or soon to be empty nesters, social suburbanites who are now getting back to living their best lives. Emily, nice work. Yeah, so this is great.
That's good.
If anyone here wants to drop a little bit of coin, everyone know Experian, the credit score company? Experian is also the leading company of mosaics. Do you know what a mosaic is? A mosaic is essentially their 48-point psychographic model that you input information of your customer base in, and it'll create a mosaic as to who they are. And this is like what franchises do. So I work with a franchise. We have a set mosaic, and we can go to any market and we can research in that market and find out, does our mosaic work there? Mosaic is an entire profile, avatar, but on steroids, of this individual, right? They have like categories like single solos, right? Like these are individuals, very independent. They're generally going to work out at open gym model type gyms. They're going to be this. They're going to buy from these kind of brands. They generally make this kind of money. They feel this way about their status and about money. Like it's absolutely insane. Consumer research, marketing analysis is so vast, so vast. Look up Experian mosaics. Not crazy expensive, but if you really wanted to get into this, like really wanted to, that's the company I would recommend you create a mosaic with. But great job.
That's really nice. Well, we're coming up on time. I do want to let you guys continue to ask questions. So if you want to reach out to us or have a question, let us know in the survey after this. Also, Facebook group is an awesome place to continue this conversation. Stu will be having a course on the PushStart platform by the I think maybe end of this month or quarter. We'll get it out next coming weeks, so you guys can kind of go through this again and process it. Our success team will be prepped and ready to answer some questions and work through these things with you if you need a success call more about the business. And lastly, hiring your first employee. There's a course on the PushStart that Stu did. It's really important to hire, again, not just figure out your client avatar, but also your staff avatar. And then whatever you do decide, make sure that the coach personifies it in class and in the experience. So we didn't touch too much on that. Once you have that avatar, push it into your brand and experience every form of your class. I think of a coach that's hyper technical, but you're not really needing that. And that coach is that kind of coach. If that's their prerogative, pull them back, make them realign with exactly what they need to focus on. If you have compound movements as an interest, like I think Andre was saying, that's a great coach, then a technical coach. But some coaches don't fit the brand, right? So that's a hard conversation to have. And if they don't want to move, that's also something you need to think about. So that's something just I was thinking about, Stu. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like Andre, like they feel uncomfortable in a big box gym. That's a pain point. Okay. Could you not make a fun little, get a little lav mic and have one of your coaches kind of film you walking into the local Gold's Gym and like acting timid, going by the big guys. And like, am I allowed to, and like, you could just make a little spoof or something fun. And I guarantee you just find something on the internet already made and just reshare it like a meme talking about, uncomfortable there. Right. They're like, you can get with this or you can get with that. And that being you, right. And that being intimate, small, high, coach knows your name. You walk in, it's not a sea of equipment, it's a sea of awesome people. You want to find a workout that, an awesome workout with people that are, awesome people and awesome workouts, great. Workout you love with people you love working out with, boom. You could create an entire marketing scheme aimed at the problem of the big box gym. Right? Absolutely. I think for all you guys, it's just asking the next question down, right? It's not just like, I'd ask you here, they want to learn how to do compound lifts. Why? My mom, 66, she definitely would like to know how to probably do a power clean and an overhead because she has cats and cat litter and she has a shelf, right? So she might not call it a power clean and overhead, but she would like to functionally know that. That's different than the kid who actually saw a clip of the CrossFit Games and goes, I want to pick that barbell up and put it over my head because that looks dope. Two different problem sets, right? Two different ways to market that, right? So like you got to take it a layer deeper. It's got to be deeper every single time. And don't guess. You always assume we know, and it's generally going to be, you're going to be dialing in like the 6 clients that you're friends with and you talk the most about. Ask this question to everyone, get 20 to 40% of them to respond to you.
Awesome. Let's stop there, Stu. Thanks again.
Rock on. Thank you guys.